Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the most controversial and baffling true crime stories in recent history. For years, the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her mother, Dee Dee, has completely shocked millions, mainly because it combined years of severe, hidden abuse with a truly tragic murder. Let's dive right into the true story. Section 1. The Bizarre Facebook Post. That bitch is dead. Yeah. Imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing that strange, deeply alarming post suddenly pop up on Dee Dee Blanchard's Facebook account. For a woman known around her community as a sweet, devoted caregiver, this was completely out of character. Terrified friends and neighbors saw this right away, and fearing the absolute worst, they immediately called the police. When police finally got inside the Blanchards' Missouri home, they made a genuinely grim discovery: Dee Dee's body. But, what was even more terrifying for the community was who was missing. Everyone immediately jumped to the conclusion that Dee Dee's daughter, Gypsy Rose, who the whole world believed was severely disabled and medically fragile, had been abducted by whoever committed this crime. Section 2. The Illusion of Illness. The sheer volume of illnesses Dee Dee claimed her daughter suffered from was just staggering. She told everyone Gypsy had leukemia, muscular dystrophy, seizures, asthma. The list just goes on. To the outside world, Gypsy was a very, very sick girl. She used a wheelchair in public, she had a feeding tube, and she often appeared with a shaved head, intentionally made to look the part of a cancer patient fighting for her life. And honestly, the natural human response to such a tragic picture is overwhelming generosity, right? Because of these claims, the community completely rallied around them. They showered the family with donations, free trips, massive charity backing, and even a specially built Habitat for Humanity home. Friends, neighbors, literally even doctors believed Dee Dee was nothing short of a devoted, loving mother working tirelessly to care for her sick child. Section 3. A Hidden Reality. Now, what's really fascinating here is the stark, almost unbelievable contrast between that public facade and the hidden reality. While the public saw a wheelchair-bound girl with a feeding tube battling multiple severe diseases, the actual truth was that as Gypsy grew older, she could walk perfectly fine, she could eat normally without a tube, and she absolutely did not have the myriad of illnesses her mother claimed she did. She was, in reality, physically healthy. So you're probably wondering, how on earth did this happen? Well, the source material shows us the extreme level of control Dee Dee exerted to maintain this whole illusion. She micromanaged nearly every single part of Gypsy's life. She lied about Gypsy's age to keep her dependent, kept her entirely isolated from others, and horrifyingly, allegedly gave her completely unnecessary medications and forced her to endure unneeded medical treatments and procedures. Gypsy was quite literally a prisoner inside a medical narrative constructed by her own mother. Looking at the psychology behind this, many experts later believed Dee Dee's behavior squarely matched factitious disorder imposed on another. Basically, this is a condition where a caregiver fabricates or creates the appearance of health problems in someone else, usually their child, often just for sympathy or attention. Though it is important to note that she was never formally diagnosed, because she died before any psychiatric evaluation could actually take place. Section 4. The Deadly Escape. Let's walk through exactly how this desperate situation unfolded. Back in 2012, feeling completely trapped, Gypsy secretly managed to access the internet and ended up meeting Nicholas Gojon through an online dating website. They developed a romantic relationship, and Gypsy eventually confided in Nicholas about the years of abuse she was enduring. Well, this revelation totally shifted their conversations. They started discussing ways to break her mother's control, which ultimately culminated in a dark plan for Nicholas to travel to Missouri. Let's trace this crucial timeline to understand the sequence of events. On the night of June 14, 2015, Nicholas traveled all the way from Wisconsin down to the Blanchards' home in Missouri, setting the plan in motion. While Gypsy stayed hidden in another room, Nicholas went into Dee Dee's bedroom and stabbed her to death. Following the killing, the two fled together back to Wisconsin. Just a few days later, police traced that bizarre Facebook post we looked at earlier directly to Wisconsin, leading to their swift capture. And as a final point on this timeline to show where things stand today, Gypsy was released on parole in December 2023. But right after the arrest, before the trials even began, there was an immediate bombshell. Imagine the utter shock when police finally located the couple in Wisconsin. They were fully expecting to rescue a severely disabled kidnap victim, only to find Gypsy walking normally. This was the exact moment the entire public learned that the wheelchair-bound, incredibly sick girl they had supported for years was a total fabrication.
Section 5. Justice or tragedy?
So the legal system was suddenly staring down an incredibly complicated web of extreme abuse and premeditated murder. The two individuals involved ended up facing vastly different legal outcomes. Gypsy admitted she helped plan the murder, but she argued she felt completely trapped after years of relentless medical abuse. She took a plea deal, pleading guilty to second-degree murder, which resulted in a 10-year sentence. She ended up serving about 8 years before making parole. On the flip side, Nicholas Gojon chose to go to trial. A jury found him guilty of first-degree murder, handing him a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. The stark contrast in these sentences, combined with the bizarre nature of the crime itself, is exactly why this remains one of America's most discussed true crime stories today. It sparks intense debate on the very definitions of victimhood and responsibility. Today, a lot of people view Gypsy Rose simultaneously as a survivor of prolonged, horrific abuse and as someone legally responsible for participating in a homicide. It's a duality that makes this case so incredibly controversial. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a few questions to ponder, pulled directly from the ongoing debate surrounding this story. First, was Gypsy primarily a victim of years of abuse? Take a second to really consider the immense weight of the physical and psychological trauma she was subjected to her entire life by the very person supposed to protect her. Second, how much responsibility should she actually bear for her role in planning the murder? It challenges us to neutrally weigh her culpability in organizing a homicide against the extreme, arguably desperate circumstances she was forced to live under. And finally, could there have been another way for her to escape? This is perhaps the most lingering, haunting question of all. There are simply no easy answers here. The story of Gypsy Rose and Dee Blanchard is unforgettable and profoundly tragic, and it will undoubtedly continue to challenge our understanding of justice, abuse, and survival for years to come. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep analyzing those tough questions.